Welcome to CAM's podcast, where we ignite the flames of leadership and empower the youth to embrace their rightful position of dominance. Our vision is to inspire a new generation of leaders grounded in biblical principles, equipped to conquer the challenges of our time. Through engaging discussions, interviews, and thought-provoking insights, join us as we embark on a journey to empower the youth, harness their strengths, and embrace their calling as leaders. Together, let us pave the way for a future where the principles of dominion, compassion, and righteousness reign supreme. This is our vision. This is our mission. This is Kingdom Ambassadors Movement Podcast.
Welcome to another exciting episode of CAM's Weekly Recaps. My name is Menzi Buthelezi and I am your host. On this episode, we're going to be looking into prime issues that have taken place and have transpired in the recent past, which are domestic and international issues. On this particular episode, there are many things we could look into. Internationally, we could keep on looking, or rather we could look at the continuous executive orders that the President of America has been continuing to issue against South Africa, which of course I would like to believe, as the President and many other people have categorized them as misinformations, that I would like to believe they are not as misinformations, but of course, we're not here to look at that in this particular episode. There is quite a big elephant in the room, which is yesterday's budget speech, where, of course, we're having a budget speech that was postponed. It's been postponed for about 2 weeks. And where we are looking at, of course, the big issue in that is the VAT increase. VAT, in this case, it means value-added tax. And of course, we will just quickly contextualize what that is and what it means to the South Africans, to people who are just normal citizens of South Africa. And why did the minister have to come to those decisions, which I believe are tough decisions, of having to increase value-added tax. We will, of course, remember that on the first budget that was supposed to happen, it leaked that the Minister of Finance had intended to increase VAT by 2%. And just a bit of history here. We will know that President Cyril Ramaphosa is the first president to increase VAT. He is the first president of the democratic South Africa to increase VAT. When he got into office in 2018, he was the first to increase that. Surprisingly, he increased value-added tax, but he decreased corporate tax. And he decreased corporate tax at an expense of the South African citizens. But then again, he is again the second, or rather the first president to increase twice in his 2 terms, VAT. And that he does by alluding to what he always says, which I believe are just political rhetorics, one of which is that at a particular point in future we'll get to appreciate why these things or tough decisions had to be taken. But again, you tell that to a typical South African, it breeds nothing but confusion, and it breeds nothing but difficulty on just the everyday life experiences, issues that they are faced with, particularly socio-economic issues, which I think at this point, looking at the state of our economy, looking at the state of our government, there is nothing that is happening on the ground and just average homes, typical homes, except difficulty, except marginalization, except poverty looming over, and just insidious experiences that are just transpiring in the homes of the houses of black people in particular, as we know that black people are the majority in this country, and the majority are those who are mostly excluded from economical interactions. And what that then means for black people, for the large community of South Africa, black and white, Indian and colored, what it means for us is that if the minister decided to do this, if President Ramaphosa in his governance, he has allowed this to keep on happening with the hope that it will fix some economical issues, it will be a strategy to buy in some growth economically, we are then deceived if we have to believe that. And then, having given that bit of a background, we must understand that the minister had intended, and remember, we are not in a single party government or of some sort, but we are having a coalition, which some have classified as a grand coalition between the NC and the DA, being the majority parties in that coalition. But there are many other parties, and it's called the Government of National Unity. So we are told that before the Minister of Finance, Minister Godongwane, tabled that speech on the supposedly day that he was supposed to table that just a week after the State of the Nation address, there was quite a lot of disagreement within the GNU. Parties were disagreeing in particular with VAT increase. And what that meant was that it had to be postponed so that they go back and consult with relevant stakeholders, which I would like to believe in this particular context would be the parties that are involved in the GNU. Some parties post that encounter came out in public to say that they had disputed the increase. They are the ones who stopped the VAT increase in those private meetings that happened prior to the sitting in Parliament before the Speaker announced the cancellation of the budget speech, which was first of its kind, which was unprecedented, which was shocking and quite scary to witness that in our time. There's just few countries that have experienced that in the world, and there's been various reasons why that happens. But ours was a slightly different one. It was a disagreement around quite an issue of importance. What that means for typical South Africans, what that means for middle income citizens of South Africa is something that really, really needed those deliberations. It needed some decisive decisions, some decisive leadership and governance to happen around those issues. One of the many issues that we have to appreciate from the current government, there is no strategy to economical growth. There is no tactic, there is no plan in growing our economy. I was quite impressed in the recent days to listen to the Treasury of the United Kingdom emphasizing the point of having a plan as a government, but also as the finance department. He was outlaying his plan for Europe, rather for the United Kingdom. That is what they need. That is what we need. We need plans. We need economical growth. We need leadership strategies that would seek to necessitate and probe growth in our country. We haven't seen that. We are not given numbers. There is no anticipation. Other countries are giving us amounts. They are saying, as Dr. Wash Sizombofu said recently, that he had studied Vietnam. Vietnam said they are having a goal of 8% growth economically. These are serious countries with their economies. These are serious countries with their economical growth. We have not seen any of those in South Africa, but we've seen continuous incompetence and corruption and just misguided decisionism. We've seen quite decisions that comes out of ignorance, that comes out of political information, or rather that are politically motivated. And this is what we've seen here. The budget speech post the postponement had turned out to be a battlefield. We contended it. Quite a lot of people commentated on that. They gave their different takes. They gave their different approaches to that. And one of the many things we have to look into is that what it means then to the average citizen, what it means to the people of South Africa. Number one, what it means as they have tabled it is that there will be an increase to the goods that we get to buy. Of course, they have said some goods will be classified as zero-rated goods, which it means that the VAT increase won't apply in those particular goods. But then there are some other items that it will be applied to. So there will be an increase in tax in those particular goods, which will make it even much more difficult for the people of South Africa to even purchase those goods, which I would like to believe that most of them are basic needs for an average or a typical home in South Africa to get by in life with those goods. So if you increase those in such an economy that is suffocated, an economy that is dying, an economy that is at a crisis, we are at an economical crisis. It's a fact. And we are at an economical crisis because of the continuous failures of the ANC. It's amazing that when they get to speak of these issues, they speak as if it's just their first term. They speak as if it's just their first opportunity in government. President Ramaphosa himself, he gets to boldly say, we are taking these tough decisions so that we will live a future that will be convenient and prosperous. Enough of that. We're tired of hearing those things. Those are just political rhetorics. Those things have not changed us. We need a leader. We need leadership that will take decisions that are pro the poor, that are pro the marginalized, that are pro the South Africans. And we've not seen any of that. What we've seen is a government that prioritizes private business, the private sector, and capitalist, which is something we do not need. We are a country that has a history that is set, a history that is difficult. If we are then taken back into those experiences by a democratic government, we are quite shocked. We are left defeated, because this is a government that should be looking forward into facilitating economical growth so to give the people of South Africa a prosperous life. And so, having classified these some of the other items as zero rated, but still, that doesn't stop the retailers, that doesn't stop the people who are selling those goods to skyrocket the prices. It doesn't stop price hiking, because they would say it does not make sense that we be told that we mustn't increase prices because these are purportedly zero-rated goods. And it's insane at such a state of suffocation that you could come out and increase tax, in particular VAT, value-added tax. This shows to us that we don't have people who are leading. We don't have thinkers. We don't have people who seek to propose strategies that will be pro-growth strategies. And that is because it's been said quite a number of times that our government is monopolizing governance. They're monopolizing strategies. They're monopolizing ideas. They're politicizing ideas in the exclusion of other private experts. Private economics have tried many times to come to the rescue of the state and try and help them. But the state has rejected quite a number of well-informed proposals that have tried to inform us, or have tried to inform the state in what could provide a strategy for economical growth. And we've seen that being easily dismissed, even by the current Minister of Finance, even by the current President of the country. We've not seen them being pro-growth. I mean, President Ramaphosa speaks as if he's still new in term. This guy is almost 8 years in office. He's on his second term. He has not done any of the things he promised. It's continuous failure. It's continuous difficulties for the people of South Africa. And we are here to say it's enough of that. But then let's look at what other political leaders or parties have proposed or have reacted with in this upset increase to VAT. One, I'll take Vuyo Zumula, the leader of ATM, African Transformation. He immediately tweeted when the budget speech was ongoing or in progress. He immediately tweeted that it's absurd to increase VAT while you already have high rates, you already have high electricity prices. I mean, the cost of living is high. It's absurd that you come again to the very same people that are already at tension economically to increase VAT, to increase tax. Julius Malema, of course, he also has come out in public to say he will not support any of that. He will not support any increase because there are many other avenues that could have been explored. So it means that this is just a government that is short-sighted, a blind-sighted government that really refused to look into issues of strategy that would necessitate that we have strategies that speaks to economical growth. Again, I want to take on the other side. The IFP has also come out in public, amazingly so, to say that they support this budget speech. They're in support of it. What more would you expect? They are in power, they're in governance. They are in governance because of the same ANC. But amazingly, just today, some guys in Limpopo, ANC guys, have been shouting that Minister Enoch Godongwane should be fired. They were shouting that. I'm not interested in the issues of factionalism within the ANC, but these are guys who seems to be dissatisfied with the minister's takes, with the minister's positions, and with just the ANC's positions. The Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, was today trying to address the media and trying to motivate why they had to take those extreme measures as the ANC. It's total absurdity. There's no logic, there's no strategy, it's just a political game. It's a party that tries by all means to defend and try and cover their failures, their continuous 30 years of failure. Trying to do that. And it's amazing because this they do at an expense of the South Africans, which are becoming more poor. And so what then gets to happen is that from now on, what will happen is that as the Public Finance Management Act allows us, Section 27 of that Act, it allows that after the budget speech has been tabled, it should then take 16 days from that for the two houses of parliament, which are two big houses in parliament, which is the National Assembly, the Council of Provinces. What will then happen within those houses, there are portfolios, there are committees, there's a finance committee, which I believe Mossi Maimane leads that in the National Assembly. So what will happen is that they will seek to go and debate the budget speech. They will go and speak to issues that speaks to other avenues and critique it and analyze it and even vote on it. It's amazing and that's shocking, and there's something there politically. So if then there's still a chance for that, and still with that 16 days period that also entails public consultations where you as a citizen will be given a chance to also contribute to those engagements. I've seen Mossi Maimane has taken it to his social media platforms today to initiate a petition. He's initiated a petition that we need a petition. We need to speak against this because they are all opposed against this. And so here's something that is interesting. And this interesting thing is that the numbers are just not on the side of the ANC. Remember, the ANC is not the majority. Remember, the ANC does not have the numbers. If the DA has come out in public to say they are opposed to this VAT increase, that speaks to a challenge then within the GNU, because what it means is that there is no consensus within the GNU. Yes, of course, we've had Freedom Front Plus. They are also opposed to this VAT increase. So it's the DA, it's the Freedom Front Plus, they are opposed. That speaks to quite a big portion of the GNU, or rather a big size of the GNU, and that then simply says the ANC does not have the numbers. If also the MK is opposed to that, the Vivian said they'll take that to the streets, the EFF is opposed to that. Who's gonna vote for that budget then? I'd like to believe that this we will see again. As I said, we are moving in uncharted territory. It's just uncharted territory, and it's unprecedented, but of course it will happen. What I foresee happening here is that this budget, firstly, it won't get approved. But what will happen is that if then it does not get approved, it will be amended, and in this particular issue, of course, that budget will be amended around the VAT increase. Why not increase corporate tax? Why not tax the wealth? I mean, as Julius Malema has said amusingly, that these people have money to buy uncle cows for 20 million rands. Why not they taxed for that? Why not we take them on? Why do we not capacitate SARS to tax people so that it creates enough revenues for us as a country to actually have enough to probe that economical growth? We've seen numbers, as the statistics have given us, we've seen numbers skyrocketing. Criminality is just on the rise. Unemployment is on the rise, and we know it all goes back to speak on the issues of economical sustainability. If there are no jobs, if there's no economical growth, if there are no opportunities, of course people resort to crime. Of course people out of unemployment, they resort into crime. We've not seen such. And so what happens is that at this particular point, we need to sit down as a country and speak against this government. We've been attacked enough by the NC government. We've been marginalized. We've been victimized enough by the NC government. We need to speak against them. And as it happened in the last national elections, these people must be punished. They never got the message during those elections. We need to punish them. We need to remind them that the government is of the people and the government is for the people. And so we need these people to understand that we're not playing here. This is the lives of the typical citizens of South Africa. And so what I would say should be considered, one is that let them gather economics experts. Let them try, private and part of the public sector. Let them try from those to gather a strategy, to gather all their expertise and skills, and see if from then we won't have something that is plausible, something that is workable. Number two, we mustn't allow the NC government, I nearly said the ruling party, they're not ruling, by the way. We mustn't allow them again to come with the prerogatives and the privileges of a ruling party. They are not ruling. We decisively made it clear to them that we don't want to be ruled by them. We want a coalition, and we must allow the people that we tasked to go and represent us in those parliaments to engage critically on this, and we trust that they will be pro the poor, they will be pro the South African citizens, because this is just not it. This speaks no sense. We need a government, of course, that will look into things of issues of growth, issues of employment, issues of empowering some black business initiatives, empowering some people who are from marginalized states, from rural areas. Those are people whom I believe are most excluded from this government. And we need a change on that. Of course, there were also good points from the budget speech, one of which was the 1 trillion rands that was invested in public works and infrastructure ministry. That is what we need. Of course, that will create enough job opportunities, that will create and improve more economical interactions, because if infrastructure, particularly the transport ministry, gets to be funded correctly, that speaks to those issues of economical growth, but also more job opportunities. This is what we had for you today on this wonderful episode. We appreciate your time and your resources. We know it costs resources to join us. Please keep on liking our materials, engaging us, commenting, sharing it. You can follow us on our multiple social media platforms. On TikTok, we go by Kingdom Ambassadors Movement. On Facebook, we also go by Kingdom Ambassadors Movement. And then on YouTube, you can find us as Chem Podcast. This is Chem Podcast, the voice of the oppressed. Thank you.